Hey guys, it's Dr. Philip Oob. I want to talk to you about fibromyalgia. There's a lot of people out there that have fibromyalgia or are worried they have fibromyalgia, and it's kind of a stigma in conventional medicine that fibromyalgia may not be a real disease. I hear from people and friends all the time that, oh, so-and-so's got fibromyalgia. They're just kind of grumpy, or they don't know what's wrong with them. They're just depressed or something. But I want to tell you that fibromyalgia is a very real disease, and conventional medicine doesn't really understand it. I want to go through first a few symptoms of fibromyalgia, and then I'll help you explain, or I will explain, what the functional medicine reasoning for fibromyalgia is, and hopefully it'll make more sense. So I pulled up this image from Google, really quick Google. It goes over some of the symptoms of fibromyalgia. Things like fatigue, sleep disturbances, cognitive problems, memory problems, headaches, dizziness, pain in muscles. Pain is the big component. Skin problems, joint pain, stiffness, urinary problems, restless leg syndrome, paired tender points, jaw pain, problems with vision. If there's anything you hear in that list, it's basically that the whole system is dysfunctional. The prominent symptom may be muscle pain or joint pain, but what most conventional medicine doctors are missing is that this is a systemic disease. Something is wrong with the system that's causing the pain. So what is it? From a functional medicine perspective, not that we know everything, but so far the functional medicine perspective is that you have a mitochondria dysfunction. You may not have ever heard of a mitochondria, so there's one. A mitochondria is inside your cell. There's hundreds of mitochondria in certain cells like liver and heart cells and things. And these mitochondria, if you may remember from high school biology, are the little bitty batteries in your cell, and these guys are the things that produce energy in your cell. They have their own DNA, they have their own cell walls, and in fact they have a double cell wall, and that's what they use to make energy. It's false to think that you eat food and food just automatically turns into energy. We are not cars. You do not put gas in us and we just convert it into energy. And in fact, an engine isn't that simple either. I don't know how they work. But the idea is that when you eat food, your body must convert it into energy. You must absorb those nutrients. Your nutrients must be packaged by the liver and other organs and then shipped around your body. And then every cell must make its own energy. If that cell cannot make energy, then it becomes dysfunctional. A cell cannot make energy if it cannot detoxify. A simple metaphor for that is if you stick a sock in your exhaust pipe of your car, guess what? Your car is not going to go very far. It's going to start smoking and then it's going to burn up and bad things are going to happen. So a cell that does not detoxify does not make energy. It's no different. This mitochondria lives inside the cell. So if the cell can't get the nutrients out of the bloodstream, or if the cell can't give the mitochondria the nutrients it needs, then it begins to cause dysfunction. Wherever this mitochondria is, or damaged mitochondria, wherever this damaged mitochondria is the organ that gets dysfunctional. Is there anything you recognize in this diagram is that almost every organ is involved. About the only organ that's not involved is like the heart, but I've seen plenty of fibromyalgia people with tachycardia. And then the other one is the liver. You don't really feel liver pain. Some people do, but you don't really feel the liver poorly detoxifying or poorly making nutrients. But when you do some of the advanced lab testing, you can easily pick up some of the liver dysfunctions. So what I want to tell you is that fibromyalgia is a very real disease, and it's primarily a mitochondrial dysfunction. I could talk about that per se for hours, but I want to focus on a few main things. If you have mitochondrial dysfunction, and fibromyalgia is one of the main diseases or syndromes where you have mitochondrial dysfunction, but as we're diving deeper and deeper into the mitochondria, we're actually finding out that almost all symptoms and diseases have a mitochondrial dysfunction component. It just so happens that the fibromyalgia people have mitochondrial dysfunction everywhere in every organ system, and now their muscles hurt. It makes sense if you think about why a person with fibromyalgia's muscles hurt. A muscle is designed to make energy. It's got to contract and make it and move around, and in order to do that, it's got to make energy. Well, if a muscle at rest cannot make enough energy, it's going to show signs of dysfunction. How does a muscle show signs of dysfunction? It hurts. That's what it does. If your brain can't make enough energy because it has mitochondrial dysfunction, what is it going to cause? It's going to cause brain fog, depression, anxiety, OCD. Something is wrong with the brain, and on and on and on goes the mitochondrial dysfunction. So how do we fix the mitochondrial dysfunction? Well, this turns out to be a very big topic, and I will be doing more and more on mitochondria, but I want to leave you guys with 3 tips on how to repair your mitochondria, but they are going to be very big categories, and hopefully we will dissect them over time. The first most important thing you can do to fix your mitochondria is you got to fix your gut. Your gut is the root of your tree. If you cannot absorb nutrients, water, vitamins from your food, then you can't fix anything and you will continue to get more and more dysfunctional. So in order to heal the gut, you've got to get rid of the bad microbiome, the bad microbes. You've got to digest your food fully. You've got to eat good food. If you're not eating colorful foods, high fats, low sugars, then you're not going to heal your gut. You're going to maintain this yeast overgrowth or bacterial overgrowth that you have. So get on a gut healing program. Number 2, you must reduce inflammation. And one of the ways to reduce inflammation is, of course, to heal the gut, but you must take into consideration all the things that are triggering inflammation. Number 1 being the most inflammatory foods, gluten and dairy. You got to remove gluten and dairy if you expect to have any progress. And then you can add some of the anti-inflammatory supplements that I've talked about before, like curcumin, fish oil, SPM Active, which is made by Metagenics, and there's tons of other anti-inflammatory stuff. The number 3 thing that you actually need to do to fix a mitochondria, and I'll show you another picture of a mitochondria. This is a happy green mitochondria. A mitochondria has a double cell wall. So one of the things you need to do in order to improve your mitochondria is you need to fix their membranes, their cell walls. So this mitochondria, it has 2 cell walls because it has to create a gradient in it and inside itself in order to make energy. So this cell wall is no different than the walls of your house. If you have holes in the walls in your house, then bugs are going to get in and air conditioning is going to leak out. And if you're anywhere in Texas like me, that's going to be for a miserable summer or winter or whatever it is, although winters aren't too harsh around here. So you always need walls that can both keep things out, but also allows things in appropriately. So if you have damaged cell walls, you cannot get nutrients in because the walls are too thick or they're too immobile, they're stiff, and you can't get things out like toxins. Every cell, and mitochondria have 2 cell walls, so it's doubly important for them, plus they make the energy, so triple important. They must get toxins out and they must get nutrients in. If that's dysfunction at all, then it starts to cause problems. The mitochondria is no different than your own engine. If you put a sock in the exhaust pipe, it will break down. It will start to damage itself. By the time someone has fibromyalgia, they've had energy dysfunction for so long that their mitochondria has damaged itself, and now it can't even make energy even if given the right nutrients. One of the things that it damages is the cell wall. It has 2 cell walls, so whatever's close by when it's making energy is what gets damaged. So how do we do that? I found this graphic online. I thought it was pretty cool. Feeding your mitochondria. And so there's a little syringe. He's milking his mitochondria. So that's not how you fix your mitochondria, unfortunately. That would be really nice. But one of the things we do in our practice is we do membrane therapy. Membrane therapy is an IV therapy where we give your body new lipids in order to restore its lipid layer or its cell walls. So I'm going to show you a diagram of a broken cell wall. I'm going to hide the bottom part because you don't need to see that yet. So this black and yellow cell wall is damaged. It's like the grill marks on your steak when you're done cooking them. There's black charred marks. Well, that's not a healthy cell wall. That cell wall cannot receive nutrients. It cannot get nutrients out, and so it is dysfunctional. After some membrane therapy, and I didn't do this study, someone else did, but after some membrane therapy of phosphatidylcholine, which is one of the IV components that we use to regenerate the cell wall, you can see that this onion ringy cell wall looking appearance no longer has any more black charred marks, and it looks healthy and flowing. You can kind of see the waves of membranes in there. That's what a cell wall is supposed to look like. That is a cell wall that can receive nutrients and get toxins out. So one of the reasons we believe that fibromyalgia is difficult to treat is because people are not focusing on the cell membranes. You got to heal the gut, you got to reduce the inflammation, you have to get the mitochondria the right nutrients, but you have to get that old toxic cell wall out of there. The reason why that cell wall gets damaged so heavily in the mitochondria, once again, your grill marks, is because as the mitochondria is making energy, it makes something called oxygen radicals. These oxygen radicals are called radicals because they damage anything and everything nearby. Everyone knows that we breathe oxygen to make energy, right? Well, the reason why you're breathing oxygen in order to make energy is because that oxygen goes all around your body, and then it goes inside the mitochondria, and the mitochondria use protons to lop it onto the oxygen to make water, and that process creates oxygen radicals. These oxygen radicals are a natural part of life. They get created every day. We're all creating them. But if you cannot appropriately detoxify these oxygen radicals because you don't have enough glutathione or you don't have enough plant antioxidants, whatever it may be, you start damaging your cell walls, getting these blackened cell walls. And your body is incredible. It can adapt to these changes and these harsh environments for months to years until ultimately it can't adapt anymore and it starts shutting processes down. When processes start shutting down, you develop symptoms, whether that's brain fog, whether that's bowel disruption, whether that's fatigue, muscle pain, fibromyalgia, whatever you may call it, it's basically a mitochondrial dysfunction. One of the most profound things we've done for our fibromyalgia patients, it works almost immediately. Sometimes it takes 3 or 5 treatments, but we do infusion therapies with the nutrients that the person needs. So we use the Myers cocktail, the glutathione, which is the antioxidants, to help detoxify the system and start regenerating some of those damaged cell walls or removing the damage going into the cell walls. But the third most important thing in our infusions is that we're helping your body regenerate these cell walls and the mitochondrial cell walls, that they can start making energy again. Once you can get the mitochondria making energy, all of those dysfunctional symptoms all around your body, brain fog, depression, fibromyalgia, pain, whatever it may be, start to improve. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. It depends on how long you've had the disease and how far your body is adapted to it. So once again, to remind you of the 3 tips that I have for you to fix your mitochondria and to reverse your fibromyalgia, because I do believe fibromyalgia is reversible. We've treated patients with fibromyalgia. We have reversed it. I can't make that promise for everyone, but we've seen it, we've done it, we will continue to try. The 3 tips are: you got to heal your gut. You have to fix what's in your bowels. You have to digest your food. You have to eat the right foods. Number 2, you have to reduce your inflammation. And number 3, you have to go after fixing those membranes, or membrane therapy, or lipid therapy, however you want to call it. So those are my basic tips for fibromyalgia and fixing your mitochondria. There will be more on this topic, but feel free to leave a comment, ask a question, and that will give me food for thought for my next video. Bye, guys.